Good morning from Kettering, Ohio. It is sunny and cold in this part of the country right now. Not sure where you're tuning in from the world or what season it is when you're watching this, but that is what I've got going on today. And I am showing you one of my all-time favorite recipes, vegetable pancakes. So the story goes like this. When I was married, he was a chef, and we didn't go out to dinner very much or out to eat very much because he's like, why should I do it if I can cook good food at home? So he really didn't understand the point of going out. But we went to the Winds in Yellow Springs, and Yellow Springs is a very small village, artist type stuff, hippies. Anyway, it's a really cool place to go. And I had something called vegetable pancakes. It was a lot of batter and some vegetables thrown in. And because of my propensity to recreate recipes, I said, oh, I'm going to go home and make this. This is amazing. And so I did, and it didn't turn out at all like the one I had at the Winds for brunch, but it was equally as good, and it has evolved a little bit over the years, and this is where we are. So the first thing we're going to do is grate our zucchini. Sorry, I already peeled the potato, the sweet potato, and was somewhat prepared, but forgot to wash my zucchini. And I only buy organic zucchini because summer squash is one of the Dirty Dozen on Environmental Working Group website. You can check that out. But the first thing you want to do is grate your zucchini because it sits with a bit of salt on it. And we squeeze it out before we add it to the rest of the ingredients. Sorry. So, large grate. And I've made this so many times, I don't need to measure the vegetables. I can see what about a cup is. So we're not packing them or anything. We're just grating them. That's probably more than a cup. And I do recommend sticking to the recipe pretty close, but that I don't think that's enough to matter. And if it falls apart, oh well. I'm eating it, so. But that is what happens when you add too much of different ingredients. They won't necessarily stick together. So we are going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. I actually have a 3/4 teaspoon measure. And I have discovered that 3/4 is the perfect amount. If you're not a huge salt eater, you can add less. I wouldn't recommend less than half a teaspoon just because it pulls the liquid out of the zucchini. So we're going to let that sit until everything else is prepped. And then I go ahead and, same grater, grate a little less than a cup of sweet potato, a little less than that zucchini. I do peel my sweet potato. I do not buy organic. If it ever goes on the Dirty Dozen list, then I'll probably do that. Not quite there. There we go. And that's the last thing we need the grater for. I put onion in it, and you can use whatever onion you want. Regular onion, meaning like just a regular yellow onion. I typically use sweet onions just because it's a mellower flavor. And I don't know, red onions, I use them in certain salads or when I want color. And I bought one the other day. I've used it up. So I got another one today when I went to Trader Joe's. No particular reason. So this is going to be between a mince and a dice. You just want it to really mix in. And it's about a 1/4 cup. I like onion, so I'm gonna do one more little slice. And then we're going to add red cabbage. Now, red cabbage just has a little bit of, it's a little firmer than green cabbage. And as you can see, I found a small head. Makes me so happy. I've cut the top off like this. And there was another half, but I made these for myself yesterday. Anyway, that's all the tender cabbage. The farther down you get, the bigger the ribs are. And you can still use that, but then you don't want to just slice it. You're actually going to need to chop it. So these are about 1/4 inch slices, no bigger, a cup. And I cut that in half so they're not huge long pieces. And I'd say that's a very close to a cup. So the next thing is an egg and then flour. I use small farm eggs. I still get these at the grocery. Look how gorgeous that yolk is. See the color on that? That is Nellie's. I got them at Kroger, and it's just a conglomerate of small farms, and the chickens are treated well. That's important to me. And then I used to add flour. I went from white flour to whole wheat flour. Then I went on a wheat-free lifestyle when I went paleo. And I just love using alternative flours. So if you want to use wheat flour, you can. It would be 3 tablespoons. I'm adding almond flour. Gives it a nice nutty taste. And again, you know, this is not baking, which is more a science, where you need to be pretty exact. In fact, for baking, I use measurements. And you want to use blanched almond flour because the skins contain lectin. And the jury's still out on lectin, but there's a lot of people say that it causes an inflammation response. So we're going to squeeze out the zucchini now. Sorry, I'm out of view. Just squeeze it in our hands. And then we mix it all up together. Our stove is set to medium, and I always use cast iron. It just pretty much sits on my stove. Clean it between uses. No soap. Just hot water and a scrub pad. And then you have to dry it, so it goes back on the stove on low and a timer. You don't want it to get too hot or overbake it. So while we lose some of the salt in the liquid, there's enough left to make this quite Tasty. And the last ingredient is some minced garlic. And it's about a half a teaspoon, so I'm going to do a little more than half of the 3/4 teaspoon. Again, not rocket science, doesn't need to be exact. And a fork. So you want to make sure that all these ingredients are really well mixed. These are beautiful as well. I most often eat them for breakfast and talk about getting a healthy start to the day. I can eat this whole recipe by myself. You can double it. You'll just be at the stove a little bit longer. Now, my kids loved these so much that they would sit on the counter beside the stove and wait for them to come out of the pan. So they would have to cool. They'd go on a plate, and when they were cool enough, the kids would just devour them. So, a great way to get vegetables in your kids. All right, I will meet you at the stove, and we'll get these babies fired up. Okay, my pan's almost hot. And I do cook these in grass-fed butter. I only buy grass-fed butter. That's a little less than half a tablespoon. Irish grass-fed butter. Almost all cows are raised in the pasture in Ireland. No, I don't think there's any factory farms there, but the butter is sizzling, which is the important thing. So the pan's hot enough, and we're just going to take a scoopful. You don't want to make these too large because they're a little hard to flip and they may not stay together. The cooking time is super important. And like I said, I've been making these for years. So you press them down to pack it up a little bit. And I use the fork to bring the sides in to make it round. And they just hold together a little bit better. So it's 4 minutes aside. And I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more. I'm so excited. It's like, I think it's noon, and I haven't had breakfast yet. I do intermittent fasting, but that was over a couple hours ago. And I haven't eaten yet, other than 2 cuties, which I love. They don't have to be the same size or the same amount, just the same height. And it's vegetable, there's no meat products in it, so it's not like there's a danger of salmonella or E. coli or any of that stuff. Although I don't worry about it either because I don't eat factory farm meat. Not that it's not a possibility, but the cows are healthier and happier, and so they're less prone to coming down with those things. All right, be right back. 5 seconds, timer's gonna go off. So we're ready to flip. And I go ahead and put 4 minutes on it. You want them browned like that, a little bit more than golden. That one could have cooked a little longer. This one's probably going to be the same because it was the 3rd one in. Yeah, a little bit. Half of it. This one's perfect. 4 minutes again. So just shut the timer off. We are ready I'm going to go ahead and flip these first just so they, well, that was interesting. Hit the side of the pan. See? Perfect. And I am so hungry, so I am going to eat. And I'm pretty sure I can eat all 3 of these. But I have enough. Oh, I'm just going to turn it into 1 because it's by itself so I can get to all sides. And there is liquid in here, so you don't want to mix that in. It's okay to just let that drain out. Set the timer again. And this is a sauce that I do like to eat on the vegetable pancakes. It's mayonnaise, sriracha, a little bit of lime juice. I'll do a video on it to give you exact measurements, but otherwise you just dollop it on the pancakes and enjoy. All right, have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ask me questions, ask me anything. Share your stories. And definitely, once you've tried the recipes, come back and let me know how it turned out, how you liked it, and if you had any issues. I'll be sure to help.